Blue Lock Season 2 sucks. Or at least, that's what a lot of people are saying online. It's safe to say that the reception for Season 2 is certainly not as good as what Season 1 had. To be fair, some of the criticism is valid. The animation is not the greatest, let's say, with some very questionable quality in its 3D scenes. The cell shading looks really weird, and some incredibly bizarre frames. I mean, what the hell is this? Also, the dialogue is very cheesy at times. Don't get me wrong, the nicknames are fun, and I know most of the dialogue this season is also written in the manga, so it's a faithful adaptation, but it can still be cringe-worthy from time to time. Besides, the most original and unique thing about Blue Lock, the focus on ego rather than the more traditional collective effort and teamwork we usually see in other sports anime, is a bit less highlighted in Season 2. It's still there, but in a less evident way, making Season 2 feel more ordinary in comparison to Season 1. That said, as valid as some of the criticism is, I believe Season 2 is still pretty good. The balance between having to win a game as a team while maintaining an obvious ego battle with teammates creates an interesting environment for the personal growth of each player, where everyone is trying to outshine the others. The dynamism of the internal and external competitions generates some really cool moments, and of course, the goals are still epic and fun to watch. However, the most valuable thing, the best part of Season 2, is something that goes beyond mere entertainment. It's an answer to a question that honestly, we should all ask ourselves in our lives. What separates the mediocre from the great? What makes some people so much more successful than the vast majority of others? To me, Sae Itoshi represents the embodiment of the answer. When we think about our greatest desires and ambitions in life, the things we want the most, the things that define us as individuals, we're often held down by our own insecurities. Competition will always exist. There's no guarantee that we will succeed, and there's always going to be someone more talented than us. But is this really enough to prevent us from making our dreams come true? Blue Lock never denies the importance of talent and individual capacity. The innate ability boost that a person can have will inevitably play a role in their possibility of success. The main goal of Jinpachi Ego, the general director and manager of the Blue Lock project, is to refine the raw talent of the players he selected and develop them into the best players they can be. That's why he keeps referring to them as unpolished gems. However, talented players exist everywhere. Talent on its own is no guarantee of success. It's helpful, obviously, but it's not decisive. The Season 2 of Blue Lock exposes the true mechanism behind real greatness, the resolution of accepting nothing but being the best. It's not merely about having some fleeting motivation of maybe following your dream. It's an unshakable belief that defines your being while recognizing the talents you have. This realization requires more than acknowledging your abilities. It demands a level of determination and commitment that borders on obsession. Sae Itoshi personifies this realization better than any other character in the anime. His confidence and relentless pursuit of excellence are not just byproducts of his natural talent, but also his unwavering resolve to be the best. Through Sae, Blue Lock teaches us a critical lesson. Talent can set the stage, but only conviction and effort can turn potential into actual greatness. Sae might seem like a very unlikable character at first, and truth be told, he kinda is. Since his childhood, he didn't really care about other people besides his brother. He apparently thinks he is the most talented and capable person to ever play football, always acting in a very arrogant and unpleasant way. When he accepts joining the under-20 Japanese national team, he refers to his own teammates as garbage and feels very comfortable throwing in their faces how much he believes they're not worthy of his respect. Even though every character has a massive ego in Blue Lock, since it's the entire point of the anime, Sae still stands out from the crowd as one of the most egotistical characters in the story. However, his attitude doesn't really come from a false and inflated sense of self-worth. He doesn't have a god complex. His self-perception is very realistic. He knows his current skills are insufficient and that he is far from being one of the best players in the world. There's a clear recognition of how far he is from achieving his dreams. That's probably one of the reasons why he decided to play as a midfielder rather than a striker in the first first place. He, better than anyone, understands the value of not only playing according to your strengths and talents, but also being as driven as you can possibly be. This knowledge is the defining factor of Sae's personality, and it's where his annoyance with most Japanese players in the national team comes from. He knows most players are not trying to be the best, to compete with everything they have and challenge themselves at every moment. They are most likely going to do enough to get paid well, maybe marry a model, and accept being considered mediocre in exchange for a mildly successful life and some scraps of happiness. But for someone like Sae, defeat is death. He's not going to stop until he's at the top. And that's the same mentality every player in the Blue Lock team has. His decision to burn the bridge between him and his brother was motivated precisely by Rin's limited mentality. Sae realized that his brother was willing to stay in his shadow, never really striving to become an independent player and individual. That's not what Sae wanted for him. Rin has qualities and talents to become one of the greatest strikers in the world, but he will never achieve his true potential if his entire reason to becoming a footballer is contingent upon someone else's existence. In his own words, he doesn't really want Rin to use him as an excuse to play football. Understanding how dependent his brother was, Sae decides to crush his dream and give him a truly egotistical reason to be driven and become the best player he can be. Sae didn't really have any interest in playing for the Japanese national team. He hates the mediocrity of Japanese football. The only reason why he decides to play the game against Blue Lock was to see if Japan actually has players who are aiming high, who are truly trying to be the best in the world. During the game, he's doing most of the heavy lifting by himself, especially in the offense, while taking every chance he has to highlight his own team's incompetence. During halftime, with Japan under 20 losing the game 2-1, Sae is ready to literally leave the game. He's perfectly willing to abandon the match because the only thing he wanted to understand with the game was already clear. He saw how different the Blue Lock team is. He saw the fire in their eyes, the will to do everything they can to be the best players. And that's what he couldn't see in Japan's national team. He is convinced that the revolution Blue Lock is trying to start is real. It was never about raw talent or luck, but about true ambition and the burning desire to be the best. The season isn't over yet. I'm sure there are a lot more goals and ego battles to come. Regardless, the one thing that you should remember Season 2 for is not the questionable animation and cringy nicknames, but the answer Sae Itoshi provides. Always strive for greatness. If you like videos and analysis like this, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe. It's the best way to support any content creators you like, and it's always deeply appreciated. There should be another video on your screen right now that I'm sure you will like, and I'll see you next time.